The House passed a bill in hopes of averting a nationwide rail strike, which could be devastating to our economy. The bill now heads to the Senate with the clock ticking before next week's deadline. Our Scott MacFarlane is following all of this from Capitol Hill for us. Hey, Scott, good to see you again. Where do things stand when it comes to the Senate? I mean, the House version passed with bipartisan support, but not unanimous.
Yeah, Anne-Marie and Vlad spoke with a number of senators today, all of whom were unequivocal that a deal needs to be cut, that something needs to be passed, but none of whom had any earthly idea how to get it done or what time it would get done today, if it's done today at all. So we may get closer to the December 9th deadline before the Senate moves on this, the final piece that's needed to pass this labor agreement through Congress and turn it into reality and avert the shutdown. The president has been clear that the Senate needs to do this. They have to act urgently, as you can see on your screen. But getting the Senate to act urgently is difficult in reality, as no doubt President Biden realizes. They need 60 votes. And North Carolina Republican Senator Tom Tillis told me he's trying to count votes, but hasn't counted 60 on this bill. Same is true for Delaware Democrat Chris Coons, who says it's sometimes difficult to get everybody in lockstep, even when there's an urgent deadline. So there's a week and a day remaining. The U.S. Senate might use more of that time than previously expected.
Has there been any response from labor union leader, Scott?
The AFL-CIO spoke with CBS News about this and made pretty clear this sick day issue is not ancillary. It is critical. That's really a sticking point. The holdout labor unions have had concern that there's no sick time in the latest offer from management, and there's no sick time guarantee in the bill that the Congress will pass to make binding. They get a 24% pay increase. They get additional health care benefits, but they don't get the sick time. And the AFL-CIO and other unions have said rail workers in particular need sick leave, not just because it's physical work, it's outdoor work, sometimes dangerous work, but because they go so far afield. They go away from home for hours, if not days at a time, that they need sick leave to do medical appointments, to do health care appointments, to do the things you do to stay healthy preventatively. We'll see if the Senate can move on what the House did last night, a separate sick day guarantee for these rail workers. But at this moment, nobody's confident the votes are there in the Senate to make that reality.
All right, so let's turn to the January 6th committee's meeting that's scheduled for tomorrow. What's on the agenda? What are they going to talk about?
It's a subcommittee meeting of the January 6th committee, which is already kind of a small committee to begin with. There's a little break-off subcommittee there that, according to multiple reports, is looking into the possibility of recommending criminal referrals, which the committee has said it's interested in doing already, or at least considering doing, making specific criminal referrals to the U.S. Department of Justice based on their voluminous findings and their hundreds of interviews. So we expect that to be the case. We expect some number of criminal referrals, but should underscore this. Those aren't binding referrals. Those are recommendations, they're advisory, and no doubt the Department of Justice is already looking at criminal investigations beyond the people they've charged already for January 6th. All that being said, the U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland, answering questions yesterday about January 6th for the first time, said that he still wants all the transcripts from this House January 6th committee, all the transcripts of all their interviews, which makes clear the Department of Justice is still interested, if not uniquely interested, in what this committee has found. So maybe there is an amplified value to a criminal referral if this subcommittee of the January 6th committee decides to do so tomorrow.
What would happen if the committee issues a criminal referral against former President Donald Trump?
I don't think it would be shocking. I don't think it would be surprising, because the committee has been pretty unambiguous. Their focus, the epicenter of their investigation, has been and remains Donald Trump. To make criminal referrals that did not include Donald Trump might be more noteworthy or more distinctive, because the committee has been continually quoting a federal judge in California who's been overseeing some of the subpoena work the committee's done. And the federal judge in California, in one of his rulings, said it's more likely than not Donald Trump was part of a scheme to obstruct the official proceedings here January 6th. And the committee keeps quoting that because, in the committee's view, that's the language of a criminal case. So we would expect the committee to make criminal referrals, and we wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump is among them. But again, those are advisory. Those are recommendations. That's not something that the Department of Justice is bound by.
So, Scott, before we let you go, can we discuss the letter House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy sent to the panel yesterday? What was he asking the committee to do? And what does this sort of suggest about what the Republicans may be planning once the committee issues its final report?
Yeah, the Republican leader sent a letter asking the January 6th committee to preserve all their documents. The idea that the House Republican majority next year will review the operations of the January 6th committee and how they conducted themselves. Now, the January 6th committee, I believe, was always under the idea it was going to preserve its records. They weren't going to destroy or burn anything. So these records were likely to be preserved anyhow. But we spoke with a Republican who's likely to chair the House Committee on Administration next year, and he told me they do plan to investigate the operations of the January 6th committee. They believe that there was some unfairness to how they conducted themselves, that the committee was also often revealing information through the media versus directly to their own colleagues, and they want to investigate that. What's more, the Republican majority wants to investigate what they deem to be security failures that went under-recognized by the House January 6th Select Committee, the failures that allowed so many rioters in such a short period of time. So we'll continue to hear about January 6th and the committee when Republicans take control here January 3rd.
All right, Scott MacFarlane for us on the Hill. Scott, thank you.